The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation or Stewart Title. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Napick from Stewart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
And greetings, everyone. Welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. This is where America tunes in to hear great talk, great guests, interesting topics all the time. So whether you are listening in Washington, D.C., Miami, Florida, Houston, Texas, even San Antonio, Texas, and especially Houston and Dallas, I think you're going to enjoy the show. We always have great topics. And today, of course, we are always sponsored by Stewart Insurance and Risk Management and their president, Tom Carpentier, who leads the company in a magnificent way. And his sidekick, Brittany Taggart, also helps. She is the Chief Awareness Officer. Sometimes people call that marketing. And today, we're going to shine the spotlight on two great topics in real estate that we always like to talk about. And it's always great to visit them and explore them because people don't always know about property management. And property management is important all over the United States. And today we have two companies that are represented as we talk about property management. We have a company from San Antonio that's going to be talking about property management. We have Mr. Kevin Knight with Liberty Management Incorporated from San Antonio. Also, we're going to hear from Mark Fee. In addition, right here in Houston, Texas, the great Empire Industries LLC is represented by Mr. Pete Newbig. So we're going to explore the property management. And oh yeah, we've got another great topic that we are going to explore that people always want to know about, and that is the international market. People call Houston an international city. Indeed it is. And our very own from Stewart Title, Mr. Mitch Creekmore, is here today to shed the light on what's going on from an international perspective, and the great Dr. Fabian Trujillo. He is with Keller Williams Metropolitan, and he's going to talk. He's right here in Houston, but he also has international listings, one of the only realtors that has a bullfighting arena as a listing. So we're going to hear all that and more. But first, let's talk about property management with Mr. Kevin Knight with Liberty Management Company. Kevin, thank you, and welcome to the show.
Really excited to be here, Bill. Let me tell you just a little bit about our company. It's Liberty Management, as you said. We manage about 800 single-family properties in San Antonio. And one of the things that makes us a little different is we've actually been audited by the National Association of Residential Property Managers, NARPM for short. So we're one of the 50 companies in the United States that's actually a certified property management company. So we run at a very high level of professionalism and customer service.
So you're doing it right, Kevin?
We do it right. We're very high tech and provide really great service.
Well, we know people certainly listen to the show here in Houston at the time of broadcast, but they listen sometimes all over the world thanks to the internet. It goes on our website and the YouTube channels and so forth. So people around the United States hear what we talk about. And boy, property management, first of all, the real estate market in Texas, but there's been a lot of different things going on here in Texas with oil prices and things. However, people always want to know what's going on in Houston, but also San Antonio. That's where your business is. Tell us a little bit about the general market in San Antonio.
San Antonio is really booming right now. The sales market is going up. We have a lot of people moving into Texas and San Antonio. San Antonio is expected to double in size over the next 20 years.
Wow.
And I really have to give kudos to our government. Our government's actually really working hard on our infrastructure to keep up our roads and our utilities and water. So we're really looking at a really bright future for the next 20 years and a lot of job security.
Wow, full steam ahead. In fact, my son lives in San Antonio, probably listening to the show right now. But in the meantime, boy, San Antonio, you're right. Last time I was there just a few weeks ago. It is bustling. It seems like it's always busy. And, oh, yeah, the people are moving in. I guess the job situation is pretty good there, too.
We've had a lot of great companies moving in, and what's nice is a lot of it's service industry companies and high-tech companies have been moving to San Antonio. And so the overall environment, cost of living is great. We have a lower cost of living, a lot of employment, very low unemployment rate. So I'm really happy to be in San Antonio.
That's great. Well, that's why it looks like people we're not on TV, but everybody in the studio is smiling today, and especially Kevin. Well, Kevin, give us an idea as we think about property management. First of all, you mentioned an organization, let me see if I get this right, the National Association of Residential Property Management, NARPM they call it, right?
Correct.
Tell people what that is, first of all.
Well, it's a trade organization, and one of the biggest things with property management, because we have this organization, we actually help each other. They educate. They do a lot of education. We actually share information. We share best practices with each other. And there's really no better way to grow your business if you want to get into property management than by being a member of NARPM.
Indeed. I go back to kind of the basics. Sometimes people have a home and they want to rent it out. They want to lease it out and they want to manage it themselves. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think one of the things they think is that it's easy. That's just one home, right? And tell people about all the intricacies that should be thought of when someone either goes to a property management company like yourself and says, hey, I want you to manage my property, or if they do go the Lone Ranger way and say, I'm going to do it myself. What are the things what kind of management things take place to do it right?
It's really quite a bit. It's really got to be a niche specialty nowadays. There's just so much more to it. I mean, just right out the fact the tenant screening aspect of it is one bad tenant could cost an owner just thousands of dollars, if not even tens of thousands of dollars. And we've actually did a study, and we actually found about 30% of people lie on their rental applications.
Really?
So you really have to dig deep, make sure when they say, I live at this address, that you're not just talking to their best friend, you're talking to the actual owner of the property.
Oh, my goodness.
And so now people are even starting to do social media checks to say when they say no pets, but they're holding Fluffy in their hand on their Facebook page.
Or two Fluffies.
Or two Fluffies. So just the tenant screening aspect right there is really critical. And the other part that I find a lot of owners miss is that the property codes, they don't stay up and current on the current property codes. And it's all about eliminating risk and eliminating liability. A good property manager will save them more money. They will make more money with a good property manager than what a property management company would cost them in fees.
And certainly a phrase comes to mind, peace of mind. I mean, if I have my real estate investment and I turn it over to you, one of the things I'm going to get is peace of mind, right?
That's a huge thing is peace of mind.
And I can't think about property or renting property without referencing the movie Pacific Heights. I don't know. Have you seen that?
Yes.
I mean, I forget what year it was, but I've just recently watched it in the last 8 months. I think everybody has seen it. Man, Michael Keaton was I forget the name of his character, but he was one of the worst.
There really are some undesirable tenants out there, unfortunately. At the same time, there's lots of great ones. So one of the things we actually focus on is what we call a grade A tenant. And we tell people if you're not a grade A tenant, don't even bother applying because you're not going to get through the screening process.
Indeed. In fact, going back to that movie, I had a friend of mine, and she says, oh, well, I'll just rent my house out. I said, wait a minute, watch this movie first and see some of it's exaggerated, but you can see some of the pitfalls. One of the other things you're talking about, the tenant screening. And, oh, yeah, we'd love to have that A-plus tenant, of course, right? But what about the eviction process? The person that is not using a property management company, they have to deal with that, and there's laws and things that you have to know about.
There are, and they actually just recently changed some of those laws. And if you do one thing wrong, the judges are very pro-tenant, especially in San Antonio. I'm not quite sure Houston, but San Antonio, they're extremely pro-tenant. And if you make one misstep, they'll throw your whole case out, and you have to refile, and it's just more lost time, more lost money. But yeah, there was a new law that just recently passed where when you're doing posting the eviction notice, now you have to put it in an envelope and has important papers written across it, taped to the door, and we even take pictures of that to show proof that we did that. So
it has to be an exact way.
Exact way.
Well, and of course you guys know that, but the average person probably doesn't have time to research it and know it, and thus they need a property management company.
Definitely a good property management company. I find that's the biggest thing. Everybody hears that, okay, I've had a terrible property manager or I've had terrible tenants, and it's really finding that good property management company that can help you out. And it's really not as hard to find as most people think. The NARPM, NARPM.org, they have a national website, and you could actually go there for your area. It's a nationwide, and you could find property managers that have had additional training where they're residential management professionals or master property managers. And when you find those kind of property managers or even a certified company, you really have peace of mind, because now you already know you have a proven property manager to take care of your property.
Indeed. And you said something there. People, when they use a property management company, to use a good one, how do they know? And certainly here in Houston, we're going to hear from Pete in a minute, and that he's with Empire Industries, LLC, always award-winning, great company. But let's say they're in another city, San Antonio or else. What are the things they should look for in a property management company? Let's say you are going outside of San Antonio or Houston to rent a property out in, I don't know, pick a state, Pennsylvania. What would you look for?
Well, the first thing I would do, I would go to the NARPM's website and see who's there and see who has designations. And then the next thing I would do is I would go to Google and check the reviews. You would, a lot of us shop on Google. We look at reviews. Well, you could actually check with if the property management company, if they're running a 2-star rating, you may want to stay away from them. If they have a 4 or 5-star rating with 100 plus reviews, well, now you're getting feedback from the owners and tenants that are actually doing business with them.
Very nice, Kevin. Well, tell people, we're going to talk to Pete here in a second, but tell people about your company, how they can reach you should they want to know more.
Well, the easy way to reach us is my email is real easy. It's just kevin@liberty.pm for property management. Our website is liberty.pm. We have a ton of information on our website.
And also, let me mention, you have with you today Mark Fee. And, oh, yeah, what a great last name. Mark is your sales manager, right?
Yes.
Hey, Mark, well, say a word to the people as they're listening, please.
Well, I wanted to say that I've been a customer with Liberty's for 10 years. So I joined Liberty strictly as a customer initially. And my very first class on property management, I realized that they taught me so little bit about how to screen a tenant and how to manage a property that I didn't want to be liable for doing something incorrectly. So that's why I joined Liberty. And I've been with them now for 10 years, and now I work for Liberty. And it's very important to make sure you have a good property management company that's going to take care of your property, because just because you pay a cheaper fee somewhere else, you don't want to pick somebody that's going to not take care of your property. So it's going to end up costing you more money than it's worth.
No doubt. It has to be done right. Right, Mark?
Correct.
Indeed. Once again, tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach me. My email address is mark@libertymgt.net.
And boy, that's an easy name to remember. People can be driving and remember Liberty. And here's another easy name to remember, the one and only Pete Newbig from Empire Industries, LLC, right here in Houston, Texas. Welcome, Pete.
Thanks a lot for having me, Bill. Really
Indeed. We're talking property management. You know a little bit about that right here in Houston, right?
I sure do.
Indeed. Tell people that are listening that may not know Empire Industries, LLC. Tell them a little bit about your company.
Okay. So Empire Industries, LLC was created by myself and my business partner, Steve Rosenberg. We were actually investors. And when we bought about 30 homes, we realized that we liked the idea of buying the homes, but we were doing a really bad job of managing the homes. We had many problems, mainly like Kevin had spoke about earlier, screening the tenants and getting good tenants in was a big challenge of ours. Getting the good tenants, the maintenance that they needed was a challenge, and then having evictions and turnovers was a challenge. So we actually went out to and interviewed a bunch of other property management companies to find a property management company. And we just felt that they really didn't have the investor mindset. Many people we spoke to didn't even own any property. So Steve and I created what we thought was a better mousetrap from the investor standpoint. We never envisioned Empire to be what it is today. And Empire, so when we built it, it was just going to be a separate LLC just for our properties, and we were going to manage our properties a little bit more efficiently. Basically, what it is today is we manage over 500 properties in and around the greater Houston area.
Wow. And you have grown. I forget, I remember hearing about your growth rates, but you really have grown. Also, I mentioned earlier about winning awards. Tell people about some of the awards that you have under your belt.
Well, we won a national award with the Action Coach program through Business Excellence Forum for North America for best marketing. And that is the number one way that we built our company and grew it dramatically, is through our marketing efforts with our 2020 program with agents. We have a strategic alliance with realtors. So if you're a realtor listening out there and you have investors, and you do not want to manage properties, give us a call, and we could partner up with you guys. And one, we give you a professional company that will take care of your client, but two, we give you a referral, and number three, we make sure that you keep the client. So when that client is ready to sell that property, you get it back.
And that's important. That's one of the things, I'm glad you brought that up, and that is how you work with realtors. Because sometimes the realtor might be afraid to promote if a property maybe is not selling, or they know someone that wants to rent there, they may not promote it because they think there's nothing in it for them and they can't really help the customer. However, what you do, you work very closely with realtors in terms of referral fees, and I like what you said. I want to clarify that as well. The realtor makes money while you're renting the property. Is that right?
That's correct.
And if that person does want to sell, it goes back, it doesn't go to you, it goes back to the realtor, so they stay in the loop, right?
That is correct.
Now, how did you design that model? That's brilliant.
I wish it was my brainchild. Kevin spoke about how NARPM members give each other ideas, and we talk a lot to each other, and we help each other. And I actually went to visit a property manager in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, of all places, and he did this with his own agents inside of their brokerage. And Steve and I took the idea of, if they could do it inside the brokerage, why can't we do it outside the brokerage? And so that's when we decided to do this with any agent in Houston.
Indeed. And I also want to call attention, as I got to know your company, one of the things you're doing, of course, you brought Kevin here from San Antonio. Last time you were on the show, you brought someone a little further away, Mr. Darren Hunter from Australia.
I sure did.
You guys are doing the research, and I don't think a lot of companies do that. You're probably the only company that is researching the property management to the nth degree, perhaps, from an international basis, also right here. In fact, you have people coming to you now to give you advice and ask how to do it, right?
Correct. We believe in, giving back. So with NARPM, we have been able to meet people like Kevin who've been in the business 15, 20 years and be able to learn from them. And now we have people who've been in the business 15, 20 years coming to us, even though we've been around for only about 3 or 4 years, and learning from us and how we do things, especially on the marketing and sales side, is where we're pretty innovative.
Indeed. The marketing side, I think, and I already know a little bit of the preview, but we'll tell people, take a look at Empire Industries, LLC, for the property management. But the preview, you're going to be doing some things at the end of the year that even take it where you're going to be able to help realtors and help them increase their business even more. And I do want to say, we're of course talking about Kevin Knight from Liberty Management Incorporated from San Antonio, Mr. Pete Newbig with Empire Industries, LLC. But I can't help, as we mentioned the word Kevin, at your company, we have to say a big thanks. I'm saying a big thanks to Mr. Kevin Davidson of Empire Industries, LLC. Were it not for him, well, we may have eventually met you, but we wouldn't have met you so soon and got to meet your team, Steve Rosenberg, certainly Kevin Davidson, and you, Mr. Pete Newbig, and oh yeah, Kelly, she's your sales manager, right?
That's correct.
Indeed. You guys are tearing it up. Tell people how they can reach you, Pete.
They can give us a call at 888-866-6727. Go to our website at www.empireindustriesllc.com.
And I also want to say on that website, and that's one of the things you do, some great videos to answer questions that people have about property management. We're not going to cover it all right here, but they go to that website, they're going to see a lot of stuff and answer some frequently asked questions. Once again, the phone number?
888-866-6727.
Very nice. Mr. Pete Newbig. And we say hi. Speaking of big, Mr. Steve Rosenberg, he's a big cat, and also Mr. Kevin Davidson. And thank you, Mr. Kevin Knight and Mark Fee from Liberty Management in San Antonio. We're going to hear from these guys a little bit later. And in the meantime, we're going to take a short break. I'm talking real fast. We're coming right back. Stay tuned.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Hey, we just talked property management. We're going to change gears. But first, I do want to say this is the first time in 103 shows I've done this. If you have not seen the movie Pacific Heights, that's my movie recommendation. I'm going to do that periodically, give a movie recommendation. Go back to the archive, see Michael Keaton, star tenant in Pacific Heights. Yeah, you'll want to rent your property out. You'll want to use a property manager after that show. In the meantime, let's look at the international picture. And once again, just like the last segment, we have experts, no doubt about it. We are going to talk to first Mr. Mitch Creekmore. He is with Stewart Title, our very own international expert, going to talk about international realty. And then we're going to come up with Dr. Fabian Trujillo with Keller Williams Metropolitan, and an international real estate agent, also does work right here in Houston. So, first of all, Mr. Mitch, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Bill. Pleasure to be here again.
It's so great to see you, and it's been a long time. In the meantime, Mitch, first of all, a lot of people certainly know Stewart Title, those listening in Houston, and they think, hey, yeah, Stewart's right there in Houston. But you know what? We're all over the United States, and oh, yeah, we're an international company. Tell people about our international presence for Stewart Title.
International presence started about 24 years ago as a U.S. title insurance underwriter. We have had the ability to expand our international presence. We have issued title policies in more than 80 different nations. We have operations and
80 nations.
80 nations.
Wow.
So you've got Stewart Title Mexico, you've got Stewart Title Canada, you have Stewart Title Limited that's headquartered in London that handles all of the European Union. We have operations in Australia, New Zealand. So truly we are an international title insurance underwriter.
That's a very unique thing for any title company to say, and that's very exciting. Now, and as you mentioned those things, Mitch, you travel all over, right, for the company?
I have in the past, yes. We have not traveled nearly as much in the last 3 years just due to the downturn in the global markets, but it's beginning to pick back up again, Bill.
Well, and when we look at the stock market, how dreadful it has been here lately, it makes me think that we are so tied. What happens around the world affects us so much right here in the United States, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when you start looking at the viability of purchasing international real estate, a second home as an example, regardless of what country it's in, it all comes back to disposable income and the ability to invest. And right now, everybody is, particularly today, as we're seeing, tough time in their disposable income and their willingness, their interest in trying to purchase outside of the United States.
Another thing I'm thinking about as we saw Dr. Ted Jones, our own Dr. Ted C. Jones of Stewart Title last week, one of the things he always talks about as far as indicators is jobs. Give us an idea worldwide and some of the things as you look at the international market. What are the indicators that you see right now around the world?
Well, I think that's why the United States is being so much impacted is by what's going on in Europe and in China. Here in the United States, the impact of oil is devastating. I think for our city in particular, Bill, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with oil being now under $30 a barrel. It's going to affect a lot of the job opportunities in this city as well as around Texas, because that's part of the lifeblood of what this city is about, as well as the state of Texas.
Interesting. Now, from as far as let's talk about Mexico. Mexico and even Canada, they're so close. Tell us about the Mexican market.
Mexican market went through a very steep decline in 2008. You couple that with the Hurricane Odile that devastated Cabo. I read an article this morning about the recovery of Cabo from Hurricane Odile. They dealt with over $30 million in damages to the properties there. I think that the market is beginning to come back. When it peaked at the end of 2007, and then the markets all turned, everybody lost their interest in buying really second homes and international real estate, to the extent so that where Mexico had historically been the number one second home market for Americans, it is now number 4. Belize has assumed the number 1 position, I think, because it's a common law jurisdiction. It's more quaint and much smaller. Panama is there. Costa Rica is there. I think at the end of the day, depending upon how Mexico does this coming year, we'll see a resurgence in the second home market for U.S. buyers.
Interesting you mentioned Costa Rica. I just talked to someone last week that's in Costa Rica this week. I don't know that she's there to buy a home. However, she's going to Costa Rica. People like that area, don't they?
Oh, it's beautiful. They've got very fine developments. It's a very well-educated country. The literacy rate is at 92%. It's a small country like Panama where you're talking about 3 and 4 million inhabitants, but it has beautiful beaches, beautiful coastlines, and very upscale developments.
And I have been to Costa Rica many, many years ago. It's the only place I've ever been where you could actually see monkeys swinging through the trees. I saw that when I was taking my morning walks at whatever the hotel was back then. But yeah, monkeys are right out there. It's a fascinating place. Now, in the meantime, tell people about title insurance, Mitch. As far as title insurance goes, we think about it here in the United States. Stewart Title started over 122 years ago, which is right here in Galveston, Texas. That's fascinating. But title insurance, not all countries are familiar with title insurance or have it. Tell people about that. They may not think about it.
Well, it really is a foreign concept. What's amazing to me is that here the concept of title insurance was initiated in our country 135 years ago, and yet it has never existed anywhere outside the United States until about 1993.
Wow.
No other countries have the concept of title insurance. Why? Because they have a reliance on public notaries who are attorneys, whether they be in a civil code jurisdiction, notarios públicos, notaires in France, the same in Brazil, or using solicitors in common law jurisdictions. So there's always been that perception and reliance on those people that provide that cradle-to-grave operation and the establishment of real property rights like a title company does here in the United States. So it's been a real evolution of a process. Stewart Title de Mexico, we were the first U.S. underwriter to create a Mexican title insurance underwriter. Took us quite a while to gain approval from the National Commission of Bonds and Insurance in Mexico. But with that, we created the awareness of what title insurance could provide, its benefits, why it is important in real estate transactions. With that being said, we do not close anything outside of the United States. We have no legal standing, no legal jurisdiction to close anything because of the way that the laws are established in real property conveyances. But we did pioneer the market from a title insurance perspective, and it's still an uphill challenge.
What happens in countries like Japan, China? What's going on there? Do they have title insurance there?
They do not. They have no reliance on it. Again, it's the use of attorneys, their legal opinions, their ability to convey and establish real property rights. So there is not a reliance on title insurance.
Very interesting. Boy, it's a wide world, and everything affects us. Now, Mitch, tell people how they can learn more from Stewart Title and in your particular international division.
Well, I'm Senior Vice President. I'm a certified international property specialist. I'm a Texas licensed real estate broker. I've got over 30 years of experience. I co-authored 2 books, one on Mexico, one on Central America. So the background.
What's the names of the books?
Cashing in on a second home in Mexico and Cashing in on a second home in Central America. They can be found through Amazon. Best way to look at a lot of the information is through stewart.com/international. And you'll see the books, you'll see the number of articles that I've written, and it's a great source of information in the international arena.
Indeed. Boy, we have a great website, don't we, Mitch? Yeah. People can go to Stewart.com international and Stewart.com for a whole bunch of other stuff. In the meantime, we're talking about international real estate. You want to buy that second home, read Mitch's book, and also you can talk to Dr. Fabian Trujillo with Keller Williams Metropolitan. Doc, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, people can buy a bullfighting arena from you, right?
That's right.
Or you got a listing right now in Mexico.
That's right. I got that listing, I guess it was November last year. I've got some quite a pretty good interest in people from San Diego wanting to tear it down and do a resort because it is only 100 feet from the ocean.
Isn't that wild? Because there it is, and as you've described it, I have the mental picture. It's like right below San Diego, right?
That's correct.
On the ocean with a bullfighting. You said you'd even throw in a couple bulls, right?
That's right.
There you
I'll
are.
make sure they're domesticated.
Bonus to selling agent, we'll call that.
There you
In the
go.
meantime, tell people about what you do right here in Houston and then how you reach out, Doc, to the international market, not just Mexico, but even beyond. Tell us about it.
Well, I've been doing a lot of international business, mainly people from China, Mexico, and the Middle East. In fact, just the beginning of this year, I partnered up with another broker here in Houston from China because most of the people coming in from China are either buying $500,000 homes or beyond that. And not only are they buying homes for their kids coming to college here, but as an investment as well because they know the value of owning land, which in China you cannot own land after 70 years.
That's right. I remember many years ago having, not China, but Japan. I had some Japanese customers come in with another company years ago, and one of the things, and I said, what is it you guys like about Houston? He said that they said the land, that there's so much of it, and they also happen to like baseball and hot dogs too, but that's another story.
That's right.
But we do still have a lot of land here, and we think about international that, yes, United States citizens want to buy homes in Mexico and other countries, but also outside, like you're saying, they want to buy property right here.
That's right. In fact, I've got a client who's trying to sell his villa in Italy, and I've got clients here in Houston who wants to buy.
Is it George Clooney?
Property.
I know he has a place on Lake
He's got
Como.
a place. He's probably next door to his place.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
But I got some clients who are looking to buy in Europe as well, and so it's basically a 50-50 trade, if you will, when you got international clients coming in here, and the same people selling their property here. I want to buy in Europe and other places because of the affordability as well.
Well, let's tell people about you. You have an interesting background. You were a pro cyclist, right?
That's correct.
A professional cyclist.
Correct.
Well, you're in great shape. Yeah.
Well, I try to be. Yes, I've been racing bicycles. So I started racing bicycles when I was 5 years old. I was national champion at 7 as well. So long story short, I competed against Lance Armstrong.
Get out.
He's a year older than me, much stronger than me, of course. But yeah, I was in the same level as he was.
That's pretty wild. But also, I'm calling you Dr. Fabian Trujillo. Trujillo, you are a doctor as well, right?
That's correct. I'm a chiropractor as well, and I've practiced. I don't practice anymore, 100%. I do. I did practice for about 7 years, full time, and I loved it. But I do like having the interaction, if you will, on the open with more clients, more international clients versus just people coming into the clinic. So I definitely enjoyed real estate a lot more.
You know, I also want to mention, certainly, and I think I did, that if someone just in Houston wants to buy a home in Houston, you are here in Houston to serve people, right?
That's correct.
But it's interesting, you have these international tentacles that are out there that people, how did you do that, Dr. Fabian? How did you connect with people in Italy, a person that wants to sell a bullfighting arena in China? How do you do it?
Well,
without telling your secrets, I know, but.
Well, my good friend, he imports products from Italy, specifically wine. And so I do help him distribute the wine a little bit here and there. And so the owners of the vineyards.
Now, you said wine, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So I do distribute wine on the side as well, part-time. And some of the clients that I've had within the wine industry, either they own the land in Europe or they have been wanting to move their whole production into the United States.
Now, we noticed you didn't bring any wine here to the show, but that's okay. But, you know, also, as I think about that, and I think about all the realtors that I know and have talked to on this show, and it's interesting how whatever the realtor does or whatever a person does in life has their hobby, or, you know, we know someone that's in the equestrian world, you know, you connect with those people, so it's just natural to have real estate as what you do, right?
That's right. I mean, like you said, you know, when you have different tentacles, like you mentioned, it's a lot easier to just connect with people that are that you feel comfortable talking about or relating to with certain topics.
Indeed.
Right.
Now, also, one of the other things that you have coming up, again, right here in Houston, there's a little high-rise thing that's going to be going on. You want to tell people about that?
That's right. That's actually, in fact, most of the investors coming in to build these high-rise are foreign, either Hispanic and Italian as well. In fact, the architect is Italian, and that's coming up. Hopefully, we can break ground towards the end of this year, fourth quarter. and that's going to be a 42-story high-rise. And it's going to be overlooking Memorial Park, the Galleria, and downtown as well. And there's nothing going to be built in front of it. So even if you're on the first level of residence, you're still going to have a view anywhere.
And when is that going to, you're going to break ground again when?
Hopefully we'll break ground towards the fourth quarter of this year or first quarter of 2017.
Well, that's interesting, too. There's a lot in the uptown Houston area. There's a lot of high-rises, a whole lot. But in the meantime, there's not, maybe downtown, there's a few mid-rises and that. But it's interesting to see how they're going to be cropping up in these other areas, right?
Right, and it's just because people like to have a little bit more space, like you were mentioning earlier, that people are trying to come into Texas because of the land availability, or specifically in Houston. And so people want to get a little bit away from the downtown scenery, if you will, where everything's so crowded. So they look for a little bit more of a space, if you will. So the high-rises are starting to pop up in different areas than just downtown.
Now, when you have your international clientele or the people that reach out to you, do they? What is their perspective of the Houston market right now? Do they think, hey, I can get a deal there now because the oil prices are a little lower? Or do they think more about investing, or are they tentative?
That's exactly, they look at it more into an investment opportunity, because they, if you will, they look at it like the stock market. You want to buy when it's low and keep it and sell it when it's high. So they have the same mindset, if you will, on land. They want to buy when it's low. When the oil prices come down, properties come down in price, so the investments come in and they start buying a property for that reason.
Very interesting. Doc, tell people how they can reach you.
My website, trujillo.international, or on my phone number, 713-775-6862.
One more time on the phone number.
713-775-6862.
And for someone that might be challenged to the spelling, Trujillo is spelled?
It's T as in Tom, R-U-J-I-L-L-O.
Very nice. There's that international spotlight. And Mitch and Dr. Fabian will be coming back here in a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break. You're listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Your host, Bill Nampick. As we continue the show, stay tuned. We're coming right back.
If you've been in the real estate industry for any length of time, you know unexpected and costly events can happen. Safeguard yourself against the unexpected with Real Estate Errors and Omissions Insurance, or E&O, through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Not all E&O insurance policies are created equal. How confident are you that your current E&O policy fully protects you? Stewart Insurance and Risk Management offers expertise in the real estate industry and tailors your coverage to correctly manage your risk. With Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, facing the unexpected just became a lot easier. Safeguard your future with real estate E&O insurance through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Call today at 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Or email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com to request tailored insurance options for you and your business.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. And now, the sponsor of our show, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Representing that great company is Brittany Tackard. Brittany, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill, for having me.
It's always exciting. Also, now let's tell people, people that hear the show know a little bit about Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. But first of all, let's tell people know us that we're in the title business. Tell us about Stewart Insurance and Risk Management.
Well, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management provides insurance expertise to individuals and businesses within the real estate industry. That's really where our focus is to serve businesses, whether you're a title agent, whether you're a real estate agent or broker, and then home buyers on the other end. Everyone's clients are home buyers, and we look to provide them home insurance.
Indeed. And, of course, we heard Kevin earlier brought up the term risk. So I was already thinking about you guys because, whether you're renting out a home or having someone manage the property, risk is all around us. And we want to have the right insurance from the right company that's going to tailor our insurance needs just like you guys do, right?
Correct.
Indeed. Now, tell us about, first of all, the full menu. And we mentioned with Mitch the website earlier, Stewart.com. People can go to Stewart. You may be at your computer right now. If you're in your car, don't do this. Stewart.com. go there and you'll see insurance, and there's two categories right there, Brittany. There's for personal.
We have personal insurance, so you can look at our home, auto, flood, umbrella, anything that you may need as a home buyer, as a homeowner, as an individual. And then we have our business segment, I guess you could say. So if you're looking for E&O for your brokerage, if you're looking for general liability, commercial property, all of that good stuff, we have it there for you on our website.
Indeed. And when we think about that, too, that means someone that might be out there and they may have a business, a dry cleaner, or some other kind of business, they can call and get their insurance needs addressed with your company, right?
Of course. We serve outside that real estate industry, but our prime focus really is within real estate. And that's why it's so important to be here with Real Estate Matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you already mentioned it, E&O. Some of the things, as there's brokers that listen and real estate professionals far and wide, you have E&O insurance. Tell us a little bit about that.
So today I really want to bring forth, I guess, some tips for real estate agents and how they can limit their exposure, for their liability, I suppose.
Okay.
And real estate agents are really held up to a higher standard to disclose information to their clients, to kind of point out the problem areas, but not give too much information on the flip side outside their area of expertise. So today I want to talk about just incorporating specialists into their process. And you want to be careful when you're recommending somebody. As real estate agents aren't trained as lawyers, engineers, inspectors, you want to get those specialists in to talk to your clients, but you have to be careful because there is a doctrine out there that's known as the negligent referral. So if you don't vet your referrals, if you don't verify who you're working with and they're not a specialist, you might want to be careful. You're representing yourself when you're referring somebody to talk to your home buyers. So you want to make sure that they're reputable, that they have the right certifications, and all of that good stuff.
Indeed. And that's one of the things I say it all the time. The realtor, first of all, has to be so many things to their buyers or sellers. And they also have to, as you're describing, walk that fine line of what they say, how they say it, who they recommend, who they don't recommend. So that it's very, very important.
Exactly. They're kind of that leader in that process. Home buyers are always coming to them for advice. And there's no secret that agents want to be a resource for their clients, that they want to be of value to them. And so it is a very fine line of disclosing that amount of information. But if you don't know the answer, don't pretend to, because that can, of course, get you into trouble when it comes to liability. So that's when you want to really insert the specialist, whether it's a great title company like Stewart Title or Stewart Insurance for the insurance part of it. And again, just making sure that
watch
referral,
what you say, right?
Yes, watch what you say, and making sure that referral is going to give your client a good experience.
Indeed.
Because it reflects on you.
And that's right. And as I said, the real estate professional is asked so many questions because people don't buy and sell their house every day. So therefore, they are the go-to, and they better be at the ready to have the right professionals and the right professionals out there to help their clients. And I think, too, they should give several contacts, too, right? They say, like with home inspectors, give several of them, right?
Yeah, that's best practices, definitely. And of course, when you're giving several as well, you're giving them some options. And just to make sure, I can't stress enough that you're talking to those referrals and you're understanding where they're coming from, if they have the right certifications, and if they're giving good experiences.
And periodically, even in the title company, we have to sometimes say, I am not a lawyer. You have to remind people of that. Of course, people never mistake me as an attorney, so I don't really worry about it. But every once in a while, I will say that. But that's very important, right? People have to know what your role is, and that's so important.
Definitely. And if a claim does arise, just some tips on what, as an agent, what you can do is you can be documenting your important conversations. That shows due diligence if you ever get in a situation. If you're documenting those important conversations and keeping track of it, if a claim is filed, make sure that you don't discuss it with any third parties besides your broker. And then, of course, like we were talking about earlier, obtain adequate errors and omissions or E&O insurance. Make sure you're covered through that.
And one of the other things I'll bring forth as well, as we handle at the title company, at Stewart Title and other title companies do, and at Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, we handle privileged information. So we have to have a lot of security protocols in place. And indeed we do at Stewart Title and at Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Things, even like I've said a million times, the clean desk policy. We want to make sure that the information people give us is handled properly and other people don't see it. So we have many, many security protocols in place. We're improving all the time. Brittany, tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach us at 866-845-4676, or you can go to our website, stewart.com/Stewart Insurance.
Stewart.com. Really, on that first page, they go there, Brittany, it's right there, hover over insurance. They can hover as long as they want, but they'll get there eventually. In the meantime, thank you, Brittany. We're going to take a short break. You're listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. We're going to come back with everybody in just a second. Stay tuned.
Stewart Title has been serving Texas for over 120 years. A Texas treasure, Stewart Title's longevity is a testimony to superior service, innovation, and knowing what their customers want. Recent surveys show that 92% of respondents want secure online tracking tools to help them during the closing process. Stewart Title offers the most robust and secure system to track transactions online available today. To learn more, contact Stewart Title at one of their many offices around the city. Stewart Title, online at stewart.com. That's STEWART.com.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, your host, Bill Nampick. I want to say something about, we have title offices all over Houston, a lot of them. I want to tell you about the one in Memorial right now. You have the great Nancy Baker Jones, one of our great escrow officers, right there at 788 West Sam Houston Parkway, and Vilma Martinez. Super. They are the Green Beret of escrow officers. We are focusing today, that Memorial office. I have the pleasure of working out of that. You can call them over there. Call Nancy. Call Vilma at 713-468-8900. Stewart Title right there at the City Center. Great lunch spots over there, too, while you're closing the real estate transaction before and after. And now he's back, Mr. Kevin Knight. He is with Legacy Management Company. Kevin, welcome back.
Hey, Bill, that's Liberty Management Company. That's okay.
Sorry about that. Liberty Management Incorporated?
Yes.
There you go.
I just have really two great pieces of advice for your listeners, whether they're local in Houston or they're across the country. If they own rental property and they're looking for property management to avoid bad property management, bad experiences, bad tenants, they should go to the National Association of Residential Property Managers website, which is narpm.org, and they could find members in their area. Since that's national, that's across the country. And if they're a real estate agent, whether they're local or across the country, and they're doing property management or they want to get into property management, they should join the National Association of Residential Property Management, attend their meetings, and they will find out right away once they attend the meetings that it's going to bring up their education and their professionalism and the service that they're able to give their owners.
That's right. So that way, when they're talking to their clients, they're going to maybe know more than, say, the average real estate agent, right?
It'll keep them out of trouble.
Indeed. And let's remind people, you are in San Antonio, right?
Yes.
So how's things look for the property management business for the rest of the year in San Antonio?
We're booming. It's the San Antonio. There's plenty of business for everybody. So there are even more people that are getting into property management. There's just, with all the growth that we're having, there's just tons of business.
Very nice. Well, thank you, Kevin, for being here today. And now, right here in Houston, another great property management company, Empire Industries, LLC, Mr. Pete New. Big Pete, welcome back.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Let's tell people right up front again how they can reach Empire Industries, LLC, and find out about your company and see those great YouTube videos that you put out.
Just go to our website, empireindustriesllc.com, and click on the blogs link, and you'll see all those videos that we do.
You know, we've had that international segment, Pete, and we talked about it. I want to tell people a lot of your investors are international, right?
That's correct. We deal with a little over 300 investors. 50% of those investors do not live in Houston, and I would say a very big portion of that 50% live overseas.
Very interesting. Now, out of those, say, those 50% investors, how many of them have more than one property? I just thought of that.
Our average portfolio is about 2.5 properties per owner. We have some that own one, and we have some that own up to 40.
Wow, that's interesting. How many of the people have, say, one property?
I don't have that broken down, but there's a few that have one property. Mainly, those are not investors, though. What we're seeing is a big trend of what we call reluctant landlords. So in 2014 and in the beginning of 2015, 80% of our portfolio was investors. What I'm seeing in Q4 of 2015 and early on in January of 2016 is we're seeing 80%. We're seeing a complete flip of 80% of reluctant landlords. So if you're an agent dealing with someone who cannot sell their home for any reason, having it leased up and managed by a property management company is a viable option for them.
That would be a reluctant landlord. Pete, tell people how they can reach you.
Go to EmpireIndustriesLLC.com or give us a call at 888-866-6727.
And once again, Kevin Davidson, if you're listening out there, we thank you for introducing us to your company. In the meantime, Mitch Creekmore, Stewart Title International Vice President. Mitch, tell us more.
I think it's important for people that are interested in the international arena, regardless of the country. You have other accesses. Certified International Property Specialists, that's a worldwide organization that is a designation from the National Association of Realtors. FIABC, which is a French consortium, also has an international presence throughout many, many countries. They're very good sources of information and context, depending upon the country you have an interest in. Certainly our website provides a great deal of information. Would like to also mention, Bill, the Houston Association of Realtors International Advisory Group is very active in participation with the Texas Association of Realtors. So lots of good sources out there at the national level, at the state level, and at the local level for those people that are interested in international properties.
And that's right. A lot of people don't think about that, but HAR, Houston Association of Realtors, one of the best organizations out there in the United States. People rave about it around the country, but boy, very active in the international market, right?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, Bill, we're going to have the Houston Association of Realtors International 101 Day, which is for continuing education. We'll host it. Stewart Title will host it on April the 28th at Post Oak Central. And Dr. Ted Jones will be our keynote speaker, which is always a great draw, and the agents really will learn a lot.
Give us that date one more time.
April the 28th, Thursday, April the 28th at Stewart Title.
Very nice. And now here he is, Dr. Fabian. Hey, what else should we know, Doc?
Well, just like you were mentioning earlier, people are looking to invest right now in the United States, specifically because of the oil prices coming down, so the property prices come down. And I have been helping quite a bit of investors coming in since December looking into property here in Houston.
So they probably should call you, eh?
I hope so.
What's that number?
That's 713-775-6862.
Indeed. Now, you are part of the HAR International group, right?
That's right. And just like Mitch, I'm also a certified international property specialist, and I'm part of the International Advisory Group as well. Just
it's
like Mitch was
interesting.
mentioning.
Each realtor, there's so many designations that you can get. Not everybody gets them all, but having that designation is very important, right?
It opens up a lot of doors, I think, and it definitely exposes you to most of the cultures out there that are important here in Houston area. And not only that, but I think it definitely brands you a lot better than most of the other designations.
Mitch said something about France. What about France?
Well, there's
anybody out there? A lot of cyclists out there in France,
I do know
right?
quite a few cyclists out there in France, and in fact, I do know another broker who does real estate in France as well.
Very nice.
Outside of Paris, in fact.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Dr. Fabian Trujillo with Keller Williams Metropolitan, and now before we leave the show with Liberty Management Inc., Mr. Mark Fee. Mark, what else should we know?
If you need property management in San Antonio, you can reach us. Our office number is 210-681-8080. Our website is Liberty MGT, like management, libertymgt.net.
Very nice, Mr. Mark Fee. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. This show is a resource where you can go for information, sometimes entertainment. In the meantime, until next week, thank you for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Nampick, marching forth every week to do my best to entertain, inform, and inspire. Thank you for listening, and until next week, we'll see you then.